when they see trash, they think that it's appropriate and it's okay, even though that they know better. And the Southeast sector, unfortunately, has been a dumping ground. But I would also say when you contact 311, follow up again if you don't see a change, but also send an email to our office and make sure that you reach out to us, because what we'll do is also follow up with the leadership of DPW and the leadership of the crews in concentrated areas, because we know that when we're in contact with the folks who are out on the ground doing cleanup, they actually also, it may expedite some of the response as well, knowing that everyone is working together. But there are clearly things that need to happen.
Share something with you. Someone just chimed in. Thanks, Heather. She said, I've reported dumping at 311 through their app and got a message saying it's been cleaned up when it really hasn't been cleaned up. This has happened several times with other things I've reported to 311, like falling trees. So I think one of the other things sort of add to that list is 311 and follow-up. And I think you just said, hey, we can contact your office. Who can we contact? Is there an email already set up? Is it something that I can sort of send back out to the people who are watching?
Well, definitely you can contact percy.birch@sfgov.org, and he'll be following up right away and working with our constituents in Bayview, particularly around illegal dumping. But again, make sure you make that 311 call because that is very important that we get the systemic response taken care of first. Then let us know in our office if there's some follow-up and things that need to happen. But we want to be mindful that we're going to be working in our office to make sure that there are improvements with 311. And then on the long term, what we're talking about now is what legislation we can do to help stop some of this dumping. So we're talking with the idea about taking away business license from contractors who are caught illegal dumping, and we need to get that message out that we're not going to tolerate it. We're talking about repossessing cars if you're caught dumping illegally in our communities, because again, it is very problematic. Recology has investigators out. We're talking about finding resources to support businesses to put out cameras, because we want to catch the bad actors and make sure there's a major consequence so that they don't do it again and our community stays clean. So we are going to continue to work on strategies to make this better. It's going to take a minute for some improvements. I have heard that people have seen, because of the conversations we had an article with DPW and Recology come out a couple of Fridays ago, and we talked about some of the issues and how we're working together. And so I've heard some positive comments from residents, some things that they've seen, and some excitement about going in the right direction. But we still got some work to do, and that's why we're here to do the work. And we're going to make sure that this is something that we spend a lot of time to take care of.
Yeah, that's great. And you know, in the idea of also sort of being able to share solutions, I think some people have actually sort of posed some really good points, like a request that DPW repost large signs indicating that there are fines for illegal dumping. You know, I think it is one really great way to go. And I think something that we're taking a look at as far as the new site is a way for people, if they do call up 311, they have like that reference number, a way for us to sort of collect, and so we can all sort of see it and actually get those requests mapped out. So if 20 people are calling about the same thing, and after 10 days it's not getting done, it's something that we can actually sort of, you know, then communicate back to your office.
No, I like that, and I want everybody to know and understand that anything we talk about here and the issues and concerns that I'm expressing are coming from what I'm hearing when I'm in the community, coming from our constituents. They're letting us know what the problems and issues are, and they're also coming up with some of these great ideas for us to solve them. I'm just a vessel to get the work done for us in the district and to make sure that we're not ignored and that the things that we need in order for our district to thrive happen. And so please continue to always come with ideas, always reach out and let our office know how we can be helpful, because working together is really how we're going to address all the concerns that we have across the district.
Another good potential solution, thanks, John, was how about creating free junk pickup so people won't need to dump? Interesting. So I'm sorry, you were mentioning, okay, so we talked about switchbacks. We talked about illegal dumping. And what was the third one?
Well, community safety, just in terms of providing opportunities for increased community ambassadors to help community be vigilant, making sure that we have more officers on foot beat and building positive relationships with community, being present, but also developing those relationships that make a community excited to have that relationship with officers in our community. And so we are working on the public safety and also talking about substations in certain areas of the district as well, because it's important for us to have bilingual officers in community. It's important for us to have ambassadors that speak different languages and that know and are from our community and understand community. It helps with the community vigilance. It helps all of us look out for each other. The more we get to know each other, the better relationships are, the more we want to treat each other with respect and dignity. And that's why we're going to make sure that we're focused on also doing bringing in strategies that keep our community safe.
Yeah. So this is really sort of near and dear to my heart because my partner was in the car when Mario Woods was sort of gunned down, right? And so this idea that we need to do something more about our police is really, really critical. And I know, this. I mean, it's horrible that I have to feel this way about the people in blue. I actually do a lot with the neighborhood emergency response teams and the fire department, and of course, we need to work with the police. But when justice is unjust, it breaks my heart. And so we will absolutely be looking to you around that and getting really specific about what can be done specifically here in Bayview. Because no black person, no brown person, hell, no white person should be able to have to walk down the street and feel anxiety, if a cop's around. And now, having said that, I know a lot of good cops too, so it's really frustrating. And just wanted to get your sort of feel around that, this is real, for a lot of residents here.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why we all fought so hard for the reforms that Department of Justice put on SFPD. And Chief Scott is working on those reforms, and we're pushing hard to make sure that the department is accountable for the things that need to change within the police department. But at the end of the day, we need officers who care about our communities, officers to come in that are trained to not promote violence, come in our community and focus on de-escalation and focus on building relationships as they respond to things. And we need officers in our community when they're not on duty, right? The best way to build relationships is to come and spend time in the community when you're not on duty, get to know the folks in the community. And I would love to see opportunity where maybe we can even pay some of our off-duty officers to come spend time, go to events in our community, go to Little League games, go to football games, really spend time getting to know and understand how our people think, what's important to folks in the community, because that's the only way you're going to really be able to provide protection anyway, is to know and understand the people that you work with, work around, and that you're dealing with. And so we're pushing those reforms, making sure that the culture of the police department changes and that these reforms are actually integrated within policy, integrated within police academy, and some of these things are happening. There's been a real focus on cultural competency and de-escalation techniques, but this has to be embedded within the police department. And so we're going to continue to push that hard line on making these changes, working with the Department of Police Accountability to make sure that they continue to focus on that. And one of the things that I have to say is important, and I've said this a lot, and social media has definitely helped with this. But we are now not only seeing officers get charged across the country, but you're also seeing officers get convicted of the crimes that they commit when they do something unjust to someone in the community. And so a lot of these bad officer-involved shootings and a lot of things that are happening across the country that are getting caught on tape, people are actually being persecuted, and law enforcement is being prosecuted for the things that they've done. And so just like anybody who commits a crime, you should be held accountable. And social media has helped make sure that people can't sweep things under the rug, and people are starting to get, law enforcement officers are starting to get prosecuted, and some have actually been convicted because of that. So we got to continue to work on treating each other better. But there's also real consequences when people are making mistakes.
No, that's great. This is something that is not, part of your top three, because I don't think it can be done in the first 100 days, but I'm really interested in what can be done around the homeless situation here in San Francisco.
Well, and that's why I started, highlighting what the major concerns are for all of us in the district across the board, because homelessness is big and is increasing so much in our district. In fact, I'll be going out on the homeless count tomorrow night to work and find out who's in the district, who's homeless, and who's not housed, and finding out how we can connect them to services. But one of the things that even prior to being elected, fought to bring another navigation center on Bayshore into the district. So now we have two, one in Dogpatch, one in Bayshore. We're also talking with the mayor's office, leadership of the city, about bringing a shelter into the district so that we can house a lot of our homeless population, work with them on the issues, systemic issues that have them living on the streets, so we can address them and get them into permanent supportive housing so that they're not on the streets, and really help them be able to thrive and be viable. But it really starts, of course, with going out, finding out what issues exist, why someone is homeless, and providing them with the support that they need. And I really think that navigation centers are a temporary solution while we work towards longer term opportunities. But the reality of it is we need the resources to address the mental health issues that exist. We need the resources to address the substance abuse issues that exist. Prop C was passed so that we would have more resources to do that and actually be efficient with them and dedicate them into the right spaces. Right now, we know that there's possibilities of court challenges, but we're going to be working hard from our office to work on systemic issues that actually put someone in a position to where they're living on the street, so we can address them adequately and give them an opportunity to get the things they need to be successful and find stable housing.
That's great. So we are going to be moving to the Q&A portion. First, I'm going to open up a poll because I'd like to sort of know a little bit more about the folks who are online with us today. They're going to be some really quick ones. Go ahead, if you can, and just answer the question. This first one is, do you live in the Bayview? And while we're doing that, I'm actually going to start asking some questions. Now, go ahead and put your questions in the chat, or there is a Q&A button. Oh, perfect. Some of you have already done that. Thank you so much. Using the Q&A button is a lot better and a lot easier for me to follow, so I can sort of share these questions with the supervisor. One question from the neighborhood. Let me go ahead and close that one up. So a number of you are right from here in the Bayview. That's really great. Over 72%. One question is, what can be done about double parking on 3rd Street?
Well, I mean, double parking on 3rd Street, obviously that's something that, law enforcement, when they see it and they're around, they have been enforcing. But I think it's encouraging better behavior and really letting people understand what that does to the flow of traffic, how it impedes on our standard of living. But without proper enforcement, without visibility and folks saying you can't be here, and I don't want to create a system where we're steady writing tickets and we're punishing folks. But the reality of it is, somebody double parks for even 30 seconds, it causes a major backup and delay on 3rd Street. And so we got to work to encourage better behavior. We also got to work to make sure that the meters are enforced so that people are moving through and there are places to park on 3rd, because the reality of it is there's too many cars on the road, not enough places to park. But it's a hard one. But we'll be working to encourage better behavior and also talking with law enforcement on strategies to kind of help the community make better choices in terms of double parking. But how can we figure out how to do this without just becoming, just making it just about enforcement? And the reason why I say that, because We have the worst transportation in the city. And so that's why we also have such a high concentration of cars. And the reality of it is, and sometimes I know people don't want to hear this, but the more we improve our transportation, the better it will get in terms of getting cars off the street and eliminating and alleviating things like double parking.
Mm-hmm. That sounds good. Let's see. Another question is what's happening with the Candlestick Mall project?